Welcome back to Rock Your Best Vocals. Jim here, professional singer for over 30 years, professional vocal coach for over 20 years. I've got a lot of experience under my belt working with people just like you. And you clicked on this video because you're having trouble with your voice. You're struggling and you're wondering, why am I not getting any better? So the learning experience, you probably heard this before, but bear with me through this. We start off with unconscious incompetence. We start off not knowing what we don't know. So if you remember when you were a kid and you're trying to sing and you're just whatever, you're having a good time, you don't care. Like nobody's told you yet that that didn't sound good, or you didn't listen back to yourself and say, like, you're not judging yourself. As a kid, you're just having fun. You don't know what you don't know. Then the next level is probably where you're at now, which is conscious incompetence. It means you know that there's some things that you're not doing right and you just don't know. If this is the place that you're at, welcome to hell. Because you're probably watching a ton of YouTube videos that are telling you different things. And you don't know who's right or who's wrong. Because some of these, they have a lot of subscribers, so they must know what they're talking about. Others, they just look good. They're young and they can sing good. And man, they must know what they're talking about because they sound like they're pitching a good product or whatever. You're spending a lot of time on YouTube trying to figure out what's wrong with your voice. But the problem is so many different things that could go wrong. Even though you're starting to learn about all these different things, there's always going to be something else because you're going to watch another video and you're going to go, oh, maybe it's my vowels that are the problem. Okay, well, I need to start working on the vowels. Then you realize it's not the vowels that were the problem in the first place. There's other things that's going on. There could be any number of problems. So you're banging your head against the wall, trying to figure out what's going on, but you don't know what's going on. And so but you're trying to self-diagnose your problem. You could spend years and years and years and years self-diagnosing your problem. If you're really, really good at it and you spend a lot of your time, I mean, like most of your time trying to figure it out, you will eventually get there years later. And some people go down that road. They just don't find somebody that will help them along that process. When people start working with me, then they start to get to the next level, which is conscious competence. You start to know all of the things that you could be doing wrong, but you're still kind of doing some of them wrong because it takes work. It takes a lot of coordination. There's a lot of things going on. Singing, people just think about what's going on up here in their voice. Like, oh, what's happening in my voice? You know, why is this happening? There's very little actually happening here. There's very little happening up here when you're singing properly. There's stuff going on everywhere else in your body, but there's almost nothing really happening in here. All of these little things that a good vocal coach will help you construct to where you're actually coordinating all of the muscles, everything throughout your body to work together properly. Then you reach the next stage, which is unconscious competence, because you've created the muscle memory in your body. You don't have to think about, oh, what's my support doing? Oh, what about my head resonance? Is that all involved? Okay. Is my throat open enough? Am I breathing properly? There's a million things that you could be thinking about, but you don't have to think about them anymore because you've built in that muscle memory. Think about riding a bicycle. When you're first riding a bicycle, you're very conscious that, you know, you could fall and you're like, oh my gosh, you know, whatever. Then all of a sudden you get to this point where everything's working together. You're pedaling the pedals and you're steering correctly and everything just sort of works. And then you don't have to think about it. But there's this period in between that you have to trust this process. And this is what I'm going to get into in a second here, because you have to trust this process of kind of a new experience. I've had to teach myself how to sing completely from scratch all over again. At this stage, you've probably been practicing a lot of bad habits. And those bad habits are so solidified. It's like you're trying to ride a bicycle, but you're sitting on the bike backwards. So what we have to do is take you off of the bicycle, turn you around, face forward, and then everything feels weird because, like, you know, it's just like, well, this just doesn't make sense. I'm pedaling forward instead of backward, and I'm, you know, my hands are out in front of me and I can see things. And you reach this stage where you have to trust that you're not going to fall over on a bicycle. You remember when you first started riding a bicycle? And you were pushed, and then you got really scared, but then you started to trust the fact that you can hold it. All of a sudden, there's this weird feeling where it's just happening. And that's the way when you reach this point of singing effortlessly, and when I say effortlessly, it takes effort in a lot of places throughout your body. It doesn't take effort here. So if you're used to struggling and there's all this kind of stuff going on and you're like, oh, I don't know how to fix this, there's links down below if you want to work with me closer, or you can figure it out yourself. It would take you a long time. You can do it. A lot of people do it that way. I taught myself a long time ago before there was YouTube. And then I ruined my voice. And then I had to try and learn how to sing all over again. So I, like you, probably watched every single video on singing that you could. And I ended up making my voice worse as a result. I retrained my voice to start from scratch. And so if that interests you, click links down below to work with me more directly. And you could take the long path and do it all yourself. If you want to do that, you can do it. There's loads of information on the internet about how to sing. There's lots of little pieces of the puzzle you can grab along the way, and you can eventually learn to teach yourself how to sing. And if that's you, go for it. Like, I love that about you. You're dedicated and you're going to do that. But if you want a quick, clear path to just get better faster, then click links down below, work with me directly. And I hope to see you on the next one. Thanks for watching Rock Your Best Vocals, where your best keeps getting better.